here is because they've got GCGG out of the roster and TTY in, that is an interesting move for me because GCGG was very much a high-performing player on this roster, so it really serves to speak here if TTY is perhaps maybe even better.
Also, Xiaoji takes up the solo DPS. He's not a flex, he is just a straight DPS, so we'll have to see how he fills those boots. His opening skirmish already out. Nice wall up. They're trying to isolate out WuSik, but he has managed to weather the storm so far. Even finds Xiaoji. That's a nice start for KIX, and Cyclone Coupling just have to start back it up. Let's see if KIX can get any more.
It's an early retreat as well for Cyclone Coupling. Didn't quite get enough value out of that wall, unfortunately. You can see it on the side. KIX just say, well, we'll walk around it, and WuSik not caught out. In fact, it's actually decrowned down.
Now Xiaoji is going to change things up. We're coming out on a Sombra instead. The Mei hasn't quite worked out at the start. They're going to need some other tricks in the bag.
This is kind of classic Cyclone Coupling. From the first couple of weeks, we started to identify them as a team that maybe wants to play a bit more Ghost, but right now, not the case.
This is effectively a 5 versus 6 out here, though. And it's actually one that's just fallen the way of Cyclone Coupling, getting that earlier pick, and Xiaoji got a back cap as well. This is starting to become a bit of a disaster for KIX. They do find Red Fox, though, and that does mean you call into question Cyclone Coupling's ability to continue that fight. But that's prior to WuSik failing to retreat. Now Casper going down, and suddenly KIX had a bit of an opportunity that they have squandered here.
You're starting to see kind of the lack of veterancy, the lack of experience from KIX, the team kind of being split into two sides. If they maybe just focus on one, yes, they kind of let the back cap go, but at the same time, if they focus on the actual team fight, they win that one, go back to the cap, chase away Xiaoji, they recap it again, they're still in a winning position. Now they're in a really bad position because they couldn't do either of those things.
Alternatively, if you retreat, all retreat, and definitely don't leave your Reinhardt behind. Now they're coming back out the gate, right into an Earth Shatter from D-Crown. It's not too hot. Now KIX are getting aggressive. They've got the ultimates to support it. Xiaoji sitting on an EMP. That's a nicely layered one. They are recording a bit of a grab, though, and Bravolab does find one out here with that self-destruct. So KIX haven't actually suffered many casualties just yet. You can just wait for WuSik to respawn. Casma going down, though. Now Bravolab as well. Cyclone Coupling have steered through the potential dangerous situation of a KIX re-aggression. Hold on, Xinjiang Bao's not done.
Yeah, he's got a triple right now. Cyclone Coupling are looking for a little bit more, but Xinjiang Bao just might pick up 5.
That's gross, man. And this is just when Cyclone Coupling look like they have kept a lid on KIX's potential counter push.
And I was going to say, Cyclone Coupling kind of took KIX for a ride. They're just splitting the team up once again, putting them on multiple different angles. But actually, KIX finds opportunity to find kills as well. They're also in a bit of a chaotic state where Cyclone Coupling are not necessarily in formation. Right now, you're starting to see potentially WuSik out of position.
Eternal's going to go ahead and throw in that grab. Largely responded to, but Casper still goes down. Nice isolation on him, getting him in front of that shield. And that sound barrier wasn't enough to save him. Now, getting onto WuSik, they finish him off. TTY is sitting on a Transcendence that he's not even going to need. He did get low for a moment there, but no need to commit it. Cyclone Coupling re-grab very, very quickly.
Cyclone Coupling right now, this recap will push them into the 90% mark pretty soon. Coming up to some important ultimates, should be looking at the EMP once again. KIX don't really have anything in response, and that's really problematic because they're heading into what will be their final fight, and they don't have any resources to take that point back.
Well, Cyclone Coupling still hold on to plenty of tools, notably that Transcendence. So even if this grab comes up for Casper, Cyclone Coupling have the answer.
Looking at D-Crown as well, setting up the shadow is going to be important. A good hack would certainly do the case, do the work for him. WuSik getting a little aggressive here. What can he find?
There's a grab early out of Eternal, and already they pick up a chunk. Xiaoji throws in an EMP onto the few remaining members, and that is the clean kind of fight you want when you're holding at 99%. Nicely done from Cyclone Coupling. Team kill, objective secured, 1-0 up in Lijiang Tower.
100 to 46, still a couple of fights there, one for KIX, but for Cyclone Coupling, once it really got into momentum, once it really started to feel the groove there with the Sombra play instead of the Mei, they started really taking the game away from KIX. There were a few moments in there that were a little concerning. Xinjiang Bao got a huge multi-kill on Cyclone Coupling, which is a little strange from the Cyclone Coupling side of things. The Mei needs to probably be addressed as well. Wasn't a very good start for them. And this time around, if they just start with the Sombra, which is what that looks like, they might find a bit more success. But speaking of Sombra, look at the other side too.
I do like that after the Mei failed, though, they didn't try and fit a square peg through a round hole. They just went, no, we will change this up. It has failed. And they still won that map anyway. So all's well that ends well. Cyclone Coupling just running the same thing, and you did mention it, KIX really shaking things up here.
Xinjiang Bao was playing a lot of Sombra last week, which kind of gave them a lot of momentum to get their win versus Giant Lex. But this time around, Cyclone Coupling, Xiaoji needs to do a lot of work as well because he's realistically the best member to kind of shut down Casper. In fact, this looks like a big change. So Jeky's like, if you want to play Pharah, guess what? I'm a really good Pharah.
Yeah, they actually want to match to an extent, and that means...
KIX like, no, we don't want to.
Yeah, they're like, no, we don't. So they're actually going on to what Cyclone Coupling were playing at. Both teams have completely swapped comps. This is uncanny.
Yeah, there's yeah, it's an interesting start. We'll give it that one.
They're just swapping outfits. That's what this really is. It's like, hey, I want to see how that top looks on me. Oh, you know what? You might as well try mine on while we're at it. WuSick's getting isolated. Yeah, WuSick's isolated though. Jeky finding that one. So Cyclone Coupling off to a good start. Nice hack onto Sheng Jianbao as Xiaoji finds his counterpart, and Cyclone Coupling should be able to get this point off the hands of KIX very quickly.
And look at this kill streak as well. Jeky's about to get 4 if he's lucky right now, and he's just completely manhandled this entire game.
Xiaoji took it.
And you look at this game as well, and you say, when you look at Jeky across the entire board with the players, he's probably one of the best, if not the best projectile player, specifically on a Pharah role across the entire Pacific region. So if KIX want to bring out something like a Pharah, Jeky's just not afraid to take it to you. And even when you don't want to play Pharah, Jeky's like, that's right, this hero exists.
All right, both these teams need to take a breather, it seems. They're like, you know what? These outfits don't look as good on us as we thought. Let's swap back. I don't know. That was I don't actually know if I've ever really seen that. Both teams going back to spawn and swapping, like changing compositions, ending up on the opposite comps.
It would be the most incredible bait if like that was the goal. Was if you are a team like KIX, you're like you bring out the Pharah. And then you're thinking, like, if we do that, they will then change, and then we can change too. And that's
some mind games right there.
The only other way it could have been more mind gamey is if you see Cyclone Coupling then realizing it's happening, and then they swap off the Pharah as well to go back onto 3.
So then you go back onto the Pharah, you're like, I want the height advantage. Well, we are going to be back underway, though, and that Pharah with the height advantage is doing pretty well. This is actually earlier in that opening skirmish. So this is up to the point, gets capped by KIX, and this is where Jeky really just hits his stride.
You can see WuSick being kind of surrounded here by a lot of Cyclone Coupling members. Something we're starting to see a little bit too often is WuSick just being caught by himself. It's not necessarily just him, though. Where's the rest of the team is a big question. Jeky just farming up members here. Look at his ult charge in particular. It's going to get up really quick.
Whenever Jeky gets multi-kills, I like to think of it as like, it's like Jeky, then Bobeki, and then the fourth one is Banana Fana Fofeki, and then you get into Fi Fi Fo Meki, and the sixth one is just Jeky again.
Oh. I don't get the reference, but I appreciate it.
You never did that with people's names when you were little? I found it very amusing, especially since my name, it goes into like, you get like Bat and Fat and Matt again. All these hilarious words. You know, the day we learned how to rhyme in school was the worst day of my life.
Well, we are back. That's one thing. And KIX are going to make the reapproach now, but probably straight into an EMP, which would be tricky for them.
Yeah, you'd expect that, certainly, and catches 5 of the 6. Does go down, but the Rocket Barrage is going to pay that one back. That's the Jeky Bobeki. And TTY gets one for himself in the mix as well. Jazzy takes a dive, and Cyclone Coupling going to hold on to the point.
And that was over so quickly. KIX don't get any opportunity to counter trade, or to even get other ultimates charged up here. Looking specifically at Sheng Jianbao dying on 75, resetting himself. Got about 20 to 30, maybe maximum charge there. Still just working his way towards his first EMP. Cyclone Coupling, TTY has been sitting on a Transcendence for a while as well.
Oh, this is a sick poke from D-Crown. Pops the shield down as well. That's actually forced the Transcendence from Jazzy, rather, just in the rotation. That is a really tough break. Sheng Jianbao took a lot of chunks. Now the hack on WuSick. Transcendence in from TTY. They decided they want to press the go button, and they found Casper as well. So they can actually justify this, even if it's a bit of a greedy one. And it's an EMP out from Sheng Jianbao, but no one can really follow up on it. So Cyclone Coupling just going to steer through that fight without too much issue.
And you did see the opportunity there for Sheng Jianbao as well, because the Transcendence was used by TTY. If enough KIX members can stay alive, the EMP is worth it. The problem is, probably not enough members were actually alive. They had maybe 3 or 4, which on paper is kind of enough, but it just didn't end up going that way. They probably needed all 6.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, Xiaoji knows he's kind of done for there. Just has to take a dive. Counter trade though into Jazzy means it's actually not too hurtful a loss, and a conk onto WuSick. This is really rough for KIX.
WuSick's just getting battered around by Jeky right now, who's got another Rocket Barrage.
That separates the team into 2. Half made it to the point, and that half has already taken chunks. That forced the sound barrier from our bow, and with that off the table, KIX have got nothing to go on. Running on fumes here is Cyclone Coupling. cruising over the finish line.
And I think this is what we expected in this series. Control Center was a bit more hotly contested because Cyclone Coupling were kind of finding their feet right again. The May didn't quite work out for them. The Sombra needed some time to get the charge in there and for Cyclone Coupling to really find some ground to win the game. But going on to Gardens, realistically, the only time they lost a cap for Cyclone Coupling was because they spent a decent amount of time kind of swapping compositions, trying on dresses, finally making their way to the ball. But once they get there, well, you're welcome. Once we actually got
get
there,
the pumpkin carriage, glass slippers and everything, and get to, go to first base with the Prince.
Unlike Cinderella, Cyclone Coupling never had to leave the ball.
Yeah, yeah. And if they did, they certainly didn't leave a shoe behind. What a daft thing to do, honestly. It's like, how do you lose you?
And a glass one too, that's dangerous.
That's the glass slipper thing really throws me off. I would not want glass around my feet. Like, you ever try and walk over broken glass in bare feet? The answer is no, because it's a stupid idea. So imagine just wearing glass on your feet. You're asking for trouble.
And the other thing that's dangerous is Jackie on the fire. You can just see they're completely unopposed. Wusik probably needed to change onto the Winston very early as soon as... That's the thing. They see the fire come through and they think, okay, well, we don't want to play fire now, but they still keep the Ryan. That's strange.
Yeah.
Usually you don't want to play the Ryan when you see the fire on the other side. So a couple of things just not quite working there. Xing Jingbao definitely behind the 8-ball compared to Xiaoji in terms of getting the Sombra ult charge in there, getting the hacks in there, especially when Xiaoji is the one actually hacking Xing Jingbao at the start of fights. That's quite one-sided for Cyclone Coupling as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of things working for Cyclone Coupling, and KIX, as kind of expected, just not really working.
And it's what we were kind of saying was potentially quite likely, even as they were picking up a win last week, was, a lot of the things they were doing were just going unpunished. And that wasn't going to fly against better teams. And Cyclone Coupling are one of those better teams, so now the pressure is on KIX to actually show that they can kick it up a notch. We do, of course, move forward where they get an opportunity to do that on Escort, where we'll be going back to Eichenwalde.
And it's on this map where I do fear for KIX once again, because on both A and probably B as well, it's just the Jackie playground with what he wants in terms of hero picks here. It's going to be Fireland all over again. If you don't have good ways to counter the Phantom, there's two ways you can do this. One, if you want to play proper counters, go on the Widow, go on the McCree, do something with the hit scan. If you don't want to do that, and you want to play the 3-3 goats, play your angles properly, play for sight lanes, play for cover, and hide in the buildings, find fights where you don't have to be taking spam damage. Unfortunately, if KIX do neither of those things, Jackie's going to walk away for the game easily.
I have no idea what you just said, because the whole time I was thinking that Jackie Playground would be a great name for a band.
I was thinking you were thinking about an actual playground. You're like, that would work too.
It's like, yeah, I'd go to that playground. Like,
Jackie Playground is him literally playing Farah on a map that's probably decent for Farah, where the opposite team just really can't do anything about it.
Jackie Playground sounds like what Jefferson Airplane would call themselves in an alternate universe. Man, those guys squandered a great name. Jefferson Starship? Doesn't have the same ring to it. Well, that's my contribution for the evening. Thank you all.
Great analysis. No, I'm kidding.
I'm really here to break down just the relative strength of these player names.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Got to say, I'm quite a fan of Wusik. Don't know, just, well, it rolls off the tongue. It's like Wookiee, it just sounds good. It's hard to make a W word sound good, in my opinion.
It's also what happens if you land a really fat shadow.
Woo, sick!
Yeah, it's sort of in that chronological order as well.
Yeah.
Good choice of name and also hero played.
Yeah. Honestly, this guy has just nailed it, just through and through. He's got that naming thing down. Well, speaking of names, shocking number of people can't say Eichenwalde correctly, and I probably just said it wrong. Right now, there is probably a very upset German, but that's fine. This is where these teams will find themselves squaring off. Get it? Because there is a square on Eichenwalde, like in the
Is it off?
one. I mean, it's probably a little bit off. Like medieval construction, it's hard to make things perfectly square. So yeah, it probably is a little bit off.
This one's falling apart.
Yeah, not very well constructed, don't you think?
Someone should really clean up their body, I'm just saying. It's been there for a while.
It's a very long time. I mean, someone should really just clean up everything. They're like, well, the war's over. Let's not re-inhabit that town. I don't get it.
So KIX are going to start out on the 3-3. Not unexpected.
Cyclone Coupling looking like they're probably just going to do the same here. They could still choose to change after they see what KIX are running.
To be honest, they run the risk of... This is the thing. If you play the mirror versus KIX, you actually give them opportunity to win, and that's where they have been winning. So for Cyclone Coupling, just play something you know the enemy can't deal with, and that has to be the fire. Right now, if Cyclone Coupling run into trouble, I expect them to change fast.
That's the thing. The argument on the other side is if this is going to work for Cyclone Coupling, they can hide some other team comps and strats and indeed even get a bit more time on their own 3-3, which is still relatively new to them, and that is a good start to the fight finding Shen Jian Bao. Eternal does get demech, but honestly, look at the pressure that all the KIX tanks are suffering. It's only a matter of time before something gives, and it's first Jazzy, soon to be probably followed by WuSik here. He has actually retreated, so he's not going to die, but that's still giving up the point.
And a very one-sided fight there for Cyclone Coupling as well. Xiaoju now has the Graviton Surge. One attempt push, now going into B.
Oh.
Reset for Bravo Live a little bit late, so KIX are still just waiting for their full members to return. It's just not really going too well for this defense.
Now Cyclone Coupling, they have really all they need to get a snowball going. They've got the grab, they're close to a Transcendence, Eternal's nearly back in the mech. They're in a really good position right now.
And the first time we're seeing them play a proper 3-3 in this series so far. I know we've only seen one map, but that was 2 rounds on a map, but they didn't. Here comes that grab.
There's the reaction, the Transcendence from Jazzy, not too unsurprising at this juncture. Now let's see who's going to get the kills. WuSik gets a decent grab, actually. Sorry, Shatter, rather. But it's still not quite enough to pick up kills. TTY just in the nick of time gets that Transcendence going. And now KIX again on the back foot, trying to get their own grab out, but it's too late to save WuSik. Good catch on D-Crown, though, so that does put the numbers in KIX's favor. Cyclone Coupling have decided they want to stay in the fight to the bitter end, and it is indeed going to end very soon for them. KIX have found themselves a defense.
And that's the first fight loss for Cyclone Coupling so far on this attack, and that's where I start wondering, do they think about swapping? Because you're kind of getting into 50-50 coin flips at some points. KIX have won a fight now. They are starting to build up some ultimates. Cyclone Coupling are no longer an infallible state where they can just walk over the defense. They have to start considering, we can lose these fights. Do we want to be in that position?
Now Cyclone Coupling, I mean, they do have enough ultimates, and KIX does know this, that they can get back on the cart, but this is where KIX will draw their line in the sand. Double sound barriers out. KIX were taking a chunk of damage prior to that. That's really dangerous for WuSik. Already down as the self-destruct comes out. Unfortunately, doesn't find anyone, but KIX do have to really scatter. And this is where Cyclone Coupling can take advantage of their scattered positioning. They're going to be able to isolate Casper, now looking for Bravalav and Bao. Shen Jian Bao going to go down, running down these supports as they try and retreat, and that is beautiful out of Cyclone Coupling.
And what you do see out of Cyclone Coupling's offense there as well is Red Fox specifically, she found such a great angle to find that Lucio boot onto WuSik, pushing him forward, isolating him, and then for Cyclone Coupling just to clean him up. And that's one of the main key factors that Cyclone Coupling has had advantage over KIX, in the fact that they can consistently find the Ryan.
Oh man, it's a one-man grab. It was almost justifiable, but the Transcendence was there just in the nick of time out of Jazzy. KIX have a lot to work with here. First, it's going to be the grab. Tried to land a counter shatter there, was D-Crown. Self-destruct finds Red Fox. So KIX are at a numbers advantage. Now they find D-Crown just cycling through their ultimates that they had banked up a considerable number of, and Cyclone Coupling are going to get forced back.
This is where KIX can have a really decent defense, respawn advantage, late kills onto members as well. Cyclone Coupling fully out of ults this time. KIX don't really have much either, but in this kind of neutral fight, KIX are still slightly advantaged, so they got more to work with. And for Cyclone Coupling, the first time really in this match where they have to think that was more of a tough loss than the previous fight that they had lost earlier on in the attack. Have to start considering what they want to do on the approach. This is a nice hiding position for KIX.
Does get sniffed out. Here's the approach from Cyclone Coupling. It's going to be a tough one to fight through, though. They might actually have to take a long rotation. They are considering it.
Xiaoju does have grab coming up, needs to start getting aggressive.
There it is, and they connect it onto Bravalav. Self-destructor's going to be laid in as well. They've already got a couple of kills before Eternal even got the double with that self-destruct, and really that just means the double is going to seal the deal on this fight. With the cart close to capped as well, I don't see KIX mustering another defense here.
To be honest though, KIX, if they have a member that can stall here, they can maybe still do it. They are looking for it.
That's a moment too late, though. That's a real heartbreaker. They had Bao to try and taxi him in, and now they are committed to a fight that they really don't want to be taking. They're just going to lose a lot of members, give away a lot of ultimate charge.
And it's just half a second off as well. If Jazzy actually touches the cart, the rest of the KIX squad can actually jump in there, use the rest of the Transcendence, and maybe get a fight win. Cyclone Company now get a huge round of kills, get a huge bit of momentum as well, continue pushing into C, and start really charging up important ults.
Cyclone Coupling, just rounding in that closing stretch. Still 3 minutes on the clock, plenty of time for them. D-Crown sitting on a shadow.
Losing the shield very quickly though. WuSik goes in first.
Yeah, it doesn't get much for it. The counter shatter is a lot more effective, and with that sound barrier as well to ride into battle on. Cyclone Coupling looking very healthy here. Very quick set of kills. You don't quite get jazzy, but you'll take the 4.
And this is starting to look a little bit more like the opening fight on A, where Cyclone Company just run away with the game. Late kill into Bravo as well is just going to stagger things out a little bit further. Card is completely uncontested. Look at positioning here. KIX are barely running out of spawn.
They had to use the sound barrier just to try and get to the card. It does actually work, but Eternal has cut off all those reinforcements anyway. And that's what Cyclone Coupling was setting up for. Very smart play, holding out those base gates. One gets taken back as Bravolab finds Jeki, but that's all they're going to get. Just sort of pittance pay here. The Cyclone Coupling looking to steer through these last few meters as they pick up these last few kills. Shout out for star points. Going to be able to pick up Bravolab with that.
Coupling still need to do some work here because there is a large number of respawners. Now, KIX in fact nearly have all their members alive.
The thing is they're not actually getting kills, and that's the real tough thing to see. Even Casper coming in the Doomfist doesn't find anything.
They are wasting time.
Then that is something. There is a lot to be said for that. Nearly a minute burned off the clock in the course of this, but now Casper, having survived for so long, will go down, having still not found kills. And Jazzy on the Hail Mary, Bastion rather, also not going to find anything.
And what I think we are starting to see, specifically because this entire map basically has just been a full mirror, both sides playing the exact same thing, which is, I don't know, depending on the team, common, or quite frankly for this team, kind of uncommon. You expect Cyclone Coupling to be the ones maybe pulling out some other stuff, but you are also seeing KIX winning a reasonable amount of fights, and not a small number. It's not like they just got one luckily in there and then just got rolled for the rest of the map. They won a series of fights, not really in a row, but kind of scattered across a variety of different places on the map. And what that does say is Cyclone Coupling do not have a total firm grasp on the game. And I think a lot of that still comes down to the fact that they are opting to play in a mirror when really they could just be crushing the opposition if they opted for something they know they're very strong at, that they know the opponents are not very good at dealing with.
And that's the thing, it's part of the nature of 3-3. It doesn't mean to say that it makes bad teams good or good teams bad or anything like that. What it does mean is, look, inevitably your opponent is going to get fights where they have ultimates and you don't, unless you've pulled off some miracle of ultimate rotation and your opponent has really squandered their ultimates. So assuming they can actually use those ultimates well in that fight, they should win it. That's what's happening a lot of the time for KIX here.
Well, there's a reason they call GOATs the Great Equalizer, and that's partially because when you start playing all these tanks and supports, it's a really team-oriented game, and when you have a team like Cyclone Coupling that kind of has quote-unquote more well-known, established, even perhaps superstar DPSs like Jeki has shown over the course of a season and a half now, he's being put on something like Brigida, which really nullifies his impact. So Cyclone Coupling kind of, in my opinion, not really doing themselves too many favors, but they are technically still winning, and KIX now on the offense, opting for a Sombra.
Definitely are a great equalizer. Have you ever tried to fight a GOAT? I got headbutted by a GOAT once when I was 12. Furious.
That doesn't sound equal, that sounds like the GOAT won.
That's the thing. I thought that we were the superior species, and then there was a GOAT, and suddenly we are all equals. Cyclone Coupling, though, very quickly, well, not equalize this fight. They're in fact going to run away with an advantage. It's kind of the opposite of equalizing. It's making things inherently unequal, and KIX are going to have to pull back and lick their wounds.
And the thing about teamwork is, despite Cyclone Coupling still rotating members 3 weeks into the competition, they just still appear to have the greater overall team cohesion. That's because they still have a number of members that have been core to this team for some time now. D-Crown being hacked could be an opening.
Just going to pull back. They need to be careful to not overextend. D-Crown does go down though, and Wusik didn't overextend. That was critical. Xingjian Bao's had to translocate quite a ways away though. So Cyclone Coupling are in for a chance here, especially with that catch on Casper. Hack on Eternal though. He is going to survive for the time being.
The KIX need momentum, they need a few more picks, and they've really slowed down in that department. They've made their way towards the cap, but they finally do get a D-Mech, that's important.
D-Crown does come back into the fight though, so this is where they can maybe rally good. EMP catches a lot of members. Only one they don't get is TTY, but you don't mind when he doesn't have the Transcendence yet. What he does have is kills, and suddenly Cyclone Coupling just getting some frags out here. KIX not actually following up on that EMP, didn't want to commit any more ultimates, and it really cost them.
I'm still debating whether I want to give Xiaoji a pass on that grab or not, because technically it didn't hit anyone, but also technically everyone kind of just died so quickly it might not have really mattered. So Cyclone Company, they do win that one. They survive the EMP, but they do now have to also play against both Earthshatter and the Graviton Surge from KIX. And KIX do want to play this carefully because there's currently no defense for Cyclone Coupling. This could and maybe should be the fight win for them.
KIX got 2/3 of that point, so they've kind of done the groundwork here. They only really need one more fight win. That's going to be a grab coming in. Red Fox super low. Nice pick up, and D-Crown in trouble. Does not quite finish that Earthshatter channel. And only one counter trade on Casper. This is the fight that KIX were looking for. Bao does get picked. They maybe would have wanted to use that sound barrier, but they're still going to get the point cap. That's what's going to count the most, and this might be a late death on Xiaoji as well.
Gotta say, even with overwhelming odds, it still wasn't super clean. They still lost a couple of members, but with only one tick to go, seemed a little inevitable. I don't know how that would have gone if it was a fresh cap with 0%, but KIX now at least gets to walk through onto B, Cyclone coupling in a regrouping phase where they're just waiting for all 6 members before they reapproach the cart.
Well, I think I know how it would have gone, right? It would have probably gone about the same as that first successful fight did. It would have done decently, maybe got a couple of thirds, and then got pushed back inevitably. So that's the uphill battle that KIX are always facing here.
A couple of KIX members just hiding as well, just waiting to see what Cyclone coupling wanted him to do when they drop down. They don't quite have a Transcendence, which is not ideal because Grav is available for Cyclone coupling, and they're looking like they want to use it.
In fact, they are indeed going to throw that one straight on top of the team. Sound barrier is there, but self-destruct beautifully placed. And getting that shield down out of Wusik, very, very critical. He was actually channeling an Earth Shatter as that self-destruct finished channeling. Massive mistake.
And you can see the cracks on the shield as well. You know it was about to run out, so I think it was a lose-lose scenario for KIX. And the bigger lose is, well, you lose the ultimate as well, which doesn't help you in these next couple of fights for KIX, where 2 minutes and 55 remaining. It's a reasonable amount of time to work with. EMP should get you some fair distance.
Actually, it does. It only got a few members, but they actually got a very quick kill on D-Crown and have been able to convert on a lot of the members who were hacked out. So that was actually exactly what KIX needed to recover from that earlier fight.
And I think this has been one of the better fights for KIX so far, where they
Much
don't
cleaner.
get members lost on their side. They don't lose members, rather. They still manage to get a bit of a foothold. I speak to it earlier, just even after the fight. This is the
Wash
part,
your mouth, that was soap.
well, this is the part where you actually don't want to lose members, because now you are going to be in 5v6.
And they also really want to charge that EMP up nice and quickly, so losing Xing Jianbao is really tough. He's already about halfway there as well. Could have potentially had one up in the next fight.
And it's just so easy. Cyclone Company, because they get that one kill, they just grab control of the point all over again. Graviton Surge available, which means they have initiative for fights. They probably want to engage early. Jazz will be forced to use Transcendence.
Feels like a lot of that good work has been undone. That's an early grab out from Xiaoji. Oh, Eternal eats Bravolab's grab. That is nicely timed, and that's a bump off the edge as well. D-Crowd's going to go down. Bravolab does get traded off, though. That's... this is a really messy fight, I've got to be honest with you. And Cyclone coupling are actually the ones the worst for wear in terms of members. Shatter comes out from Wusik as well, but Transcendence is there from TTY.
Good body block as well.
Xing Jianbao goes down, and that was an EMP that they critically needed. It's a slightly closer respawn for Cyclone coupling, but they're still losing members. This is really bizarre.
And it could still go either way. D-Crown's back now after
Wusik.
a super strange Earth Shatter. The only hammer that went down is his hammer as he fell down into the water. Cyclone coupling right now still in position to reclaim this fight. KIX had a position, but they kind of lost it, maybe.
That was an overextension out of Cyclone coupling. Xing Jianbao lays the trap, springs it beautifully. They pick up both supports.
Oh, man.
That's Xiaoji going over the edge. Look, they lose Wusik. That's the counter trade there, but KIX are actually back on the horse here.
And both teams, as soon as they start winning, they kind of just throw it away a little bit. D-Crown's in no man's land. He's kind of wondering where he should be. Kind of just needs to get on the point, to be honest.
Casper goes down. Eternal only self-destructed to preserve his mech, and it still finds one as well. So Cyclone coupling can probably rescue this point just off that alone. They've actually suddenly got the respawns now, and that means they have a numbers advantage.
Let's see if they keep that, because so far both teams have been kind of, you know, over-aggressing, walking a little bit too far, getting caught up by things when teams are trying to reset. So Cyclone coupling finally just slowing the game down, regrouping, repacing yourself. KIX as well. Finally get to regroup at 6. We're about to hit the overtime, and the next couple of ults are going to be very important for both sides.
Had those dollar bills in their eyes trying to run down Wusik.
But there was no money.
Exactly. They've only just recovered from that passenger play as well, and arguably only partially so. Cyclone coupling is still behind in ultimates. Shatter just kind of off into the void. Jazzy down, though. That means no Transcendence available for KIX. There's the Transcendence that Cyclone coupling have in the pocket. Nice timing on the double grab. Does make it a bit harder. There's the EMP out of Xing Jianbao, but no one able to follow up on it as Cyclone coupling start to cut down the members of KIX. Jazzy, just Transcendence somewhere off in the distance. Not going to be able to get to the cart, and that is going to be the hold. That is going to be Cyclone coupling going up 2-0.
It just seems like towards the end there, and maybe even across the majority of that map, saw KIX kind of losing their bearings. Not the first time I've seen Wusik just throw an Earth Shatter out there. No setup whatsoever, just let's just see if this lands. You toss a little bit of mud at the brick wall, maybe something sticks. You got Eternal, but nothing really that you can get much out of that.
This was their very messy fight. So it's
look at D-Crown on the side.
D-Crown over the side is a really
Specifically
tough one.
look at D-Crown right now because he's off the side, then he's like, let me just use the ultimate as well.
Yeah, really not too hot. Bravolab's grab getting eaten was kind of a tough start, but that's the thing. With D-Crown going down and then Arbao and Jazzy picking up kills.
It's like worse.
Yeah, there was no point where KIX were actually too far behind that it wasn't winnable. This was the real tough break though. Casper was overextended and then finding a kill on what was just a resetting ultimate. It's because Jazzy got charged into the line of fire of it.
And by the way, before this charge came in, D-Crown was completely out of position.
Yeah.
If KIX wanted to, they could have cleaned him up. They don't have to look at the card in that position. They can turn around and say, this is a free Ryan pick for us. It'll put us into player advantage. Wooster could be back as well, and then maybe we just win this fight. But the word messy is an understatement for most of that map. Just continual strange things happening. I think, the epitome of that, the real peak of that is when we saw the Grav eat onto Bravolov's Graviton Surge, but then instead of Cyclone coupling, that should just be a winning moment. They decide to throw in an Earth Shatter that does nothing, and just a whole bunch of things that just go into nowhere.
Yeah, there's a term that springs to mind. Something about entertaining folk.
Entertaining event.
Having a party.
I'm entertained. Are you not entertained by this?
I'm talking about people who tend to wear multicolored afros. Potentially paint their faces with exaggerated features.
Easter? No.
No, football fans.
That's true. That's true. It does remind me a little bit
I'm just really disappointed that we chose the term Clown Fiesta over Jester Fiesta. That is my soapbox. I'm done for the night. Thank you very much.
Well, we're going to take a little bit of a siesta right now. It is break time, and what that means is a little bit of time for everyone to recover and maybe get themselves ready for the next set of couple of maps, and that's all going to happen very soon. But for now, stick around. We'll see you right after this break. Maybe. Or think about it. It takes me a little while to get to bed, I'll be honest.
I'm just really not sure. Like, one thing I do want to say.
Let me make the bed first.
Yeah, just hold up. Before we have a nap. Like, need to heat up the milk and get the cookies out and everything. Something occurred to me because we weren't mentioning names earlier. TTY, like, you know the acronym TTYL for like talk to you later?
Okay.
I like it's just like talk to you. It's like right now, not later, talk to you now.
Well, my headcanon was just thank you.
Thank you.
Just 2 thanks before you.
I was like, bow, because it's like, yeah, that is how I react to bow.
All right, this time we really are going to take a bit of a nap, so we will see you very soon. So take a bit of a break, and we'll see you right after this.